So the weather is a bit chilly now, 30s to 40s in Washington. I thought it'd be fun to share with you some exercises while demoing the Schmincke palettes that I have. I bought these sometime last year. It's a Haze palette and the Tundra palette, and I think the two palettes go very well together. They have a very autumnal vibe to them, so I thought it might be nice to paint some sweaters, because I've been thinking a lot about sweaters, hot cocoa, sitting by an open fire, watching TV with some popcorn or something. I randomly found some sweaters on Pinterest. I'm not planning on selling these as prints or anything, but yeah, these are pretty simple exercises as far as coloring them in. I also took this as an opportunity to practice drawing, but if you wanted, you could just, Google sweater, print out an image that you like, and then copy the outline. I found that finding the lines for the shadows were pretty simple, and when it came to painting the sweaters, all I did was give it a simple wash with the Liquitex acrylic ink that I have, transparent raw sienna, and then I gave a wash of the color that I used for each sweater, wet on wet. I knew enough to know that it would dry very soft, so I wouldn't have to worry about any lines or anything. And then when it was still damp, I went over it again to emphasize certain areas for the shadows. Doing that also allowed for it to dry more or less soft without any hard lines. And then when it was completely dry, I went over it again with almost a mass tone. This was again a good exercise in getting to know my materials. The more you work with your materials, the more you're able to anticipate how they might dry. And I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. So again, it's a fairly simple exercise as far as painting it goes, and a good way of practicing knowing what I was looking at, because each of the reference photos, the person wearing the sweaters was the angle that you were looking at her was from a certain angle, so that was good practice. So for the green sweater, I very quickly just kind of drew in where I wanted the shadows to be. If you notice, it looks more cartoony in that there's definitely a hard line between the area that I painted over one last time and the rest of the sweater. Now for the third sweater, using Tundra Orange, I found myself while glazing over with that third layer, I accidentally lifted some of the paint from the second layer. It was surprisingly easy to just kind of push it back into place and then like brush it over. So it might take a little bit of finesse, but I think it is really simple as far as painting in whatever you drew. They remind me of illustrations, but with just a little bit of texture. A couple of notes about these postcards. While they aren't as thick as some of the nicer watercolor papers, they definitely aren't 300 GSM, but they do hold up to water pretty well, in that I didn't see it buckling or getting warped where the sweater was more than the rest of the postcard. It did curl a bit, so what I'm going to do is paint the back with just some plain water so that it curls in the other direction, and then I'm going to put them in between books so that they can hopefully be flat again. I definitely won't be sending these through the mail. I wouldn't recommend sending anything that you painted with watercolor. It didn't dawn on me until after the fact. It does rain a lot here. You could definitely get some good painterly effects using ink with a brush. That way you can use waterproof ink. But yeah, these will probably be either things that I keep for myself, or if I do send them out as gifts, I'll put them in an envelope first. Yeah, just another tip about these postcards. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please give this video a thumbs up, and feel free to leave a comment if you want to say hi or anything else. I'd love to hear from you. Here's to warm socks and hot coffee.